Welcome to Hill and Dale and this Age of Empires forecasted game with 3DB spawning in the southeast corner of the map in orange, playing as the Delhi Sultanate. His opponent today in the northwest, playing in red, is Kaup as the English. Welcome ladies and gentlemen to Hill and Dale, a map which I kind of like. It's okay. It's something to think about in terms of strategies. A lot to talk about actually in this civilization matchup. It's the reason why I picked it, the English versus the Delhi. I like it on this map. And I think the reason why I like it is because the Delhi Sultanate kind of dictate the terms in this fight in terms of actually being a tempo aggressor, a civilization which actually benefits greatly from being in the mid-map, getting access to those sacred sites. And because of that threat, the English simply can't defend and just be happy with staying in their little hill. They'll certainly want to venture in the middle of the map to contest these sacred sites as well. And I think that's a really nice mechanic for the civilization on this map in particular, because otherwise this map can be quite boomy, it can be quite slow to get going. Although having said that, since the recent change of having only one gold patch in your hill, there used to be two, and so this has kind of changed things out a little bit, makes people need to go out into the mid-map a little bit more. Having said that, even with only one gold vein, I think with many other civilization matchups, the English can do pretty well without having to contest the middle of the map, and they just kind of camp at home as much as they need to. And so I think this Delhi Sultanate civilization really changes the dynamics of the matchup. Just to bear in mind as well, actually, in a recent casted game, I talked about how you can kind of choose possibly Sanctity over Piety. I actually forgot that Sanctity is a feudal age upgrade. It's been a long time since the Delhi Sultanate used to actually be able to capture sacred sites in the Dark Age. If you remember those times, leave me a comment in the comment section below. It's very, very early on in Age of Empires. It was kind of crazy where scholars were getting the sacred sites in the Dark Age. It was kind of funny. In any case, that was a little mistake in a recent casted game. I just picked up on that later on afterwards. So yeah, it's going to be going for the efficient production as you expect, and then Piety afterwards. And then I'm sure Sanctity will be coming in soon after. Now, speaking of the feudal age, it's going to be the Dome of the Faith for the Delhi Sultanate to get those scholars costing 50, not 50% rather, just 50 gold cheaper. The scholars themselves actually cost 130 gold, so going to be changing that to 80 gold from the Dome of the Faith. Now on the other side of things, it's going to be this council hall. Going to be getting those longbows out potentially very quickly from this landmark. And yeah, I mean this is gonna speed up. I'm sure that it's going to be a lot of aggression in the feudal age. Kind of expect it in this civilization matchup. What's interesting is that 3DB has gone for the Dome of the Faith. A really fan favorite for the Delhi Sultanate in this matchup has often been Tower of Victory. Getting that sort of attack speed bonus. It's very, very solid for the Delhi, but he's going to go for the Dome of the Faith, looking to get those scholars out cheaply. Maybe mass them up in large numbers. We'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how this Hill and Dale matchup ends up being. And I just wanted to say as well, whilst we have a bit of downtime before the players get to the feudal age, I hope you guys are enjoying the casted content on the channel. Do feel free to give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're enjoying the content, because I've got much more Age of Empires 4 content to come up, especially with the new DLC coming. So plenty of casted content hopefully on the way, and hope you guys are enjoying it. I certainly am, looking at the civilization matchups, talking about how things may change as the game and the meta develops. So yeah, I'm hoping to actually change my content creation kind of dedication to maybe full-time eventually. I do have a couple of other channels actually dedicated to other games, including Stormgate and Zero Space. But you know, those are game dedicated channels, so you'll only ever get Age of Empires 4 on this channel. But if you're interested in Stormgate or Zero Space, I'd recommend checking out those channels. I'll probably drop a link in the video description for this video, and then you can check it out. And you know, obviously, if you're not interested in those games, don't bother, because it's not even gonna change anything. But speaking of changing things, well, Kaup is actually looking to get some farms out, and the barracks and council hall is up and running very soon. So nothing really changes in terms of the English opening here today for Kaup and on Hill and Dale. But he's going for an early farming transition, so you can kind of already see that long-term plan in mind for Kaup. Just going to be slowly transitioning off of sheep before even taking deer. So it's going to be looking to get that farming economy up and running with the cheaper farms for the English. I wouldn't be surprised to see 3DB maybe venture out a little bit into the mid-map to get these berries if he's not going to be up against any aggression, because it could be quite hard to get these berries later on. We shall see. He might even just opt for the deer camp. He's actually got 4 villages on gold, so kind of signifies that he's going to be reducing those scholars as you would expect. And garrisoning inside the Dome of the Faith will speed up the research time. It's going to be going for double broadaxe before forestry. Obviously, he queued up forestry and then kind of paused it as it was. You know, there was actually once a time with the Delhi Sultanate as well, where if you cancelled, or there was no such thing as pausing a tech. If you cancelled it, that's it, it's gone. You have to start from the beginning again. It's kind of painful. But lots of change, lots of things have changed, lots of changes have taken place since the release of the game, of course. And speaking of changes, well, there's going to be a new DLC for Age of Empires 4. Super excited. New civilizations, probably new campaigns. We'll have to watch and wait and see. And a lot of sheep here for B. I wonder if he's going to push these deer away, actually. Going to be annoying. Villagers there for Kaup, going to shoot them before they get pushed away too further forward. And opening up with a couple of Ghazi raiders, a couple of spearmen to defend by Kaup. So, interestingly enough, Kaup is actually being relatively passive. This does give the opportunity for 3DB to get into the mid-map and get those sacred sites. It's like Kaup is maybe looking just to build up a bit of an economy. He's got wheelbarrow, double broadaxe. Maybe look for a timing push before he actually ventures out into the mid-map. Not too concerned, I think, himself at the moment with the situation. Does now upgrade, or I say refresh rather, his lumber camp. Now with 3DB with this knowledge, he's probably going to look to get the scholars out, and that's exactly what he does. Ungarrisons 3 of them, 4 of them in fact. And with Sanctity now having, or just about to come in, he's going to activate those sacred sites at around about 7 minutes. And well, this is the point where Kaup is actually going to start pushing out as well. With a couple of spearmen to go for those Ghazi raiders. Would be expecting to see an archery range here for the Delhi. It does have one indeed, and it's not supervised just yet. There's no scholar inside there. Most of the scholars are out and about, looking to get those sacred sites. So the sacred sites is going to hold a key. Oh, might lose a scholar if he's not careful. Because you can't really engage this. There's too many spearmen. He needs more archers here, B. But certainly getting the sacred sites will certainly help the economy for B. In many ways, the economy looking strong with the farming possibility for the English. But he's only got 3 so far, of course, spending that wood on the longbows and those spearmen. 2 scholars are there. He needs to... I mean, he might engage this and try and heal up the units. We'll have to see. I mean, it's really pretty suboptimal. There's only 2 archers there. Going to get the sacred side on the right side. And on the left side, he's going to get that sacred side too. But quite a decent number of spearmen there for Kaup. Doesn't want to overcommit. So something about the English is that things are very snowbally. Like if you take a really bad fight, things can really deteriorate from there on in. So if you're going to take a fight, you've got to make sure you win it. Oh, he gets snared. He's going to lose 2 Ghazi raiders for free here, B. And loses an archer too. He's going to lose a second. Oh, pretty rough engagement there for B already. Has to backtrack for now, but first blood comes in for Kaup. Going to use the imams to heal up. Or scholars rather. Needs to be careful not to lose these though. But now with the sacred site on the west, that will be giving him some gold. The sacred site on the east is being decapped by a villager. Maybe look to palisade wall that up. That's exactly what he does. Going to try and deny access to that sacred site. Now this is a really interesting sacred site position behind the forest. Actually pretty... in a nice spot for Kaup, actually, to be fair, as spawns go. A bit unlucky there for B. With a massive tree line in the way. Going to get the sacred side on the right side. Sending a Ghazi raider. Should be able to kill that villager as well, because it's kind of half dead. With the wolf chipping away at it on the west side. It's going to pick off that scholar for sure. And it's going to deactivate that sacred side on the west. It does have a couple of units coming that way, though, to try and save the day there, B. But behind this, B has a slightly better economy. You know, he's not lost as many villagers. 32 villagers at the moment. With Kaup on 30, having lost 2 villagers, of course. Probably a bit of idle time from the town centre to account for the remaining difference. This is going to be a good engagement here for Kaup. I don't think B can take this fight. It does feel like B needs to drop a secondary archery range, or at least supervise his archery range that he's got. He is already doing that, actually. So it might need a secondary archery range, because I think, to be honest, B going full archers actually counters everything that Kaup has. But he's being quite persistent with the Ghazi raiders. He kind of wants that mobility. He needs to back away from the sacred site now. Does have access to it for now. He might lose a Ghazi raider. At least it's going to be very weak. He's going to try and keep it alive. Oh no, he's good. Oh, that was unfortunate. He lost that Ghazi raider for free there. I was hoping that he'd be able to try and save that. Now, sacred site victory timer has been activated, and this is why I enjoy this civilization matchup. It forces the English out. Now, the English have to do something about this. 10 minutes is not a long time. It's not a long time. And he has to do something about neutralizing the sacred sites. Now, he probably will. He probably will look to get their west sacred site in a strong position to do so. But there's a decent number of archers now built up for B. And B could just dance around with his horsemen, or his Ghazi raiders rather, and fight with his archers. Doesn't necessarily have all that many. He's going to focus on the archers first. Forget about the spearmen for now, because he's the one who's pushing. So it's actually kind of an interesting fighting dynamic to think about in Age of Empires 4. When a player, for example, let's take B. He's pushing right now, so his archers should really focus on the longbows. If he was being pushed by spearmen, then for sure he would have to focus on the spearmen because the spearmen would be dictating the tempo. Although he's fighting with the Ghazi Raiders against the spearmen. I mean, a couple of spearmen do go down. The scholars are trying to heal up behind, but it's not particularly optimal. A decent number of longbows here as well. Going to take a decent trade against the Ghazi Raiders, but a lot of them. No steeled arrow just yet. Or, I take that back, sorry. Steeled arrow is in play for Kaup, but it's not in play for B. And it takes time. Although, I think it just doesn't have a blacksmith at this point. Yeah, B doesn't have a blacksmith, unfortunately for him. Sacred Site still in play. This is a lovely bit of gold that will be coming in. It does get a market now, so I suspect he'll be using that market to buy food and wood to try and supplement that army. 30 military to 27 in the favour of B. 3 villager lead, but don't forget 3 sacred sites as well, adding a lot to the bank for the Delhi Sultanate. Heading back home for now. I think this is going to be a strong push here for Kaup. He does have steeled arrow, has iron undermesh as well. And he's taking the fight, but the longbows are going to kite quite nicely. Now this is what's going to be key, and this is the issue. B is kind of diving in, diving out, but he's not really going to take the engagement, and because he's not committing, he's losing units. This is quite slobby by B standards, has to be said. For someone who's so strong at micro, he's losing units left, right and centre, and this is what we talked about. If you're going to take a fight, you've got to take it against the English. You can't go half-hearted. If you do that, they're going to lose units on the return, on the retreat, and then it gets even worse. Oh my god, there's going to be villages on the berries going down. B, no. A lot of those villagers will go down. All 4 of them will go. And that villager lead has now been cut down. The spearmen getting so much value for Kaup. Always denying those Ghazi Raiders jumping on the longbows. The scholars aren't getting involved. The trouble is the archers are getting picked apart. And now this is a fight that Kaup, I mean, he won't lose this. Even with this number of scholars, it won't be enough. Those spearmen are going to be taking out a lot of those Ghazi Raiders. And I think maybe he's just buying time. This is a really suboptimal fight. He loses a couple of Ghazi Raiders on the retreat. This is the thing, you can't just dive in, dive out with the Ghazi Raiders and heal them up. And now he might even lose a scholar or 2 on the retreat. He just about gets away with it, and the scholars will survive. They're going to have to head back into the main base for the Delhi Sultanate. And overall bad engagement there for B, so he's kind of got his tail between his legs, those Ghazi Raiders. They're going to have to head back home and stay there for a while. He needs to build up unit numbers. And what's interesting now is that this gives the opportunity for Kaup to, get these palisade walls up and deny these sacred sites. And that's actually really, really key. It's denying what Delhi want to do. But not only that, Kaup might look to push. Doesn't have siege engineering, I don't believe. It doesn't just quite yet. And that'd be interesting to see if he decides to do that. Let's take a look what he's doing back at home. He's got the farming transition. So it won't be Rams. He's not looking to kill his opponent too quickly. He wants to play the mid to late game, it looks like, and try and get to that castle age at some point, but maybe just play heavy feudal age. Now, there is one thing that the English could actually add to this, is man-at-arms. That'd be very difficult to deal with in some ways for the Delhi, although not as bad as it used to be, because, of course, the Ghazi Raiders do well against armoured units. Of course, the Delhi Sultanate used to just have simple horsemen. But yeah, I mean, this is a nice extension of the network of castles bonus for the English, with the outpost, of course, which will be getting the nearby units to have a 20% attack speed. Very, very, very nice indeed. And the sacred site on these should be protected. I think he's actually got the foundations down a little bit here. So I don't think the Ghazi Raider gets them there. Oh, he doesn't. It's only 12 HP on that thing, though. Yeah, should get the walls up. Okay, it's going to be pushed back, though. Kaup does get the outpost up in time. Only just, though. Although this is not going to be necessarily a great fight for B. I don't think he can take this fight. He's going to go in with the scholars. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. The spearmen engage against the Ghazi Raider with the archers on the back line. Just not enough archers. The longbowmen are going to be taking them out on the retreat. The spearmen do back off for now. The scholars are possibly doing a bit of work, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think if the Ghazi Raiders really engage against the spearmen, those spearmen could do a lot of damage, but Kaup is pulling back. That's the key bit of difference. There are no archers now, so I think the spearmen should just engage. This is going to be a problem for B. There are no archers there to snipe out the spearmen. There are a couple of man-at-arms as well. We did talk about that potential for the English, and he's taking advantage of that potential. And the scholars are going to be left back alone. A couple of Ghazi Raiders joining the fight, but a little bit late to the fight. They're being trickled in. It's mostly scholars here, and B's not retreating. He's just not coming back just yet. And I think a lot of these scholars will go down on the retreat. It's going to focus on the army first. Let's take out the weak ones. Not quite enough to one-shot these scholars, but just about getting there. And yeah, he's losing a lot here, B. That is for sure. Very, very nice dominating performance here for Kaup at this stage. It does have double blacksmith, so the blacksmith upgrades are coming in very nice. Just got the last one with siege engineering. And the palisade walls are up on the east side sacred site with an outpost for vision. And this is looking problematic. A couple of villagers heading forward again to get another outpost. Walk help. That would be a strong staging ground to attack from. Okay, well, Ghazi Raid is going on the west side, maybe to get a flank and maybe do some damage. He could actually sneak here around the back of the base if he decides to do that. But splitting off the army is often very dangerous, especially if the English snowball and group together. Well, they might be looking to pick off some reinforcements, which would be pretty strong. Needs to bring the longbowmen back home and away from harm. It does have a couple of spearmen here. Just the one will be keeping up that. It does engage two. Yeah, this is not a great fight again for B. He picks away the weak one. He's going to heal him up, but he's going to lose one for sure. And he's probably going to lose a second. Although the longbow will have to snipe him. Doesn't quite manage it. Overall decent micro, but I'm not sure how much value he's getting. That's the problem. He's losing Ghazi Raiders. And does get the outpost up. It's actually going to wall him in. Kaup is going to wall 3DB in his base. Although, not sure for how long, but decent number of spearmen again. The problem is Ghazi Raiders aren't really doing what they need to be doing. They can't really get close. 3 spearmen, 4 spearmen. This is not a good fight for the Ghazi Raiders. They get picked apart. This is not a fight that they win, or at least if they do, not without casualties. I think he wins eventually, but... Okay, well, only just. I'm not sure if it's worth it, to be honest. Felt like the spearman is not really engaging cleanly. In any case, well, Kaup is going to wall him in. 3DB going to be feeling a little bit claustrophobic. Well, at least he can expand on the east and on the west and escape, maybe. But as we head into almost the 17th minute of the game, it's looking good for Kaup. And here we are. Here's the Ghazi Raiders raiding in. We talked about this potential. It does have an iron undermesh, so these guys will be a little bit more tanky. It will be causing a bit of idle time for the first time, I think, in a long time at least. Getting pushed off of gold. Now, he does actually have enough gold here, Kaup, to get to the next stage. What would be interesting if he decides to go up with the King's Palace. Now, that will actually slow him down in terms of military production, but it will set him up really nicely for the late game. And we know how strong the English are in the late game. That could be a potential option for Kaup. Can be sending villagers here on the west side, maybe to get the deer pack. That's exactly what he's doing. The Ghazi Raiders do take care of that. But the trouble is he's giving away his position. And I wouldn't be surprised if Kaup sends his army there. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to build up the palisade walls, block him in, and they're going to send his army there. Now, 3DB is going to have villagers that are exposed. I don't think he has enough at all, especially when you consider there are spearmen involved. I think the fact that there are spearmen involved makes it very, very difficult for 3DB, rather. Going to try and torch down this palisade to get in. We'll kill the villager and then break through. It does have the sacred side on the west, but oof, this could be bad. The Ghazi Raiders not in position. Oh no, they went too far forward. He's going to lose a scholar. The Ghazi Raiders will spot this now, but the trouble is he can't really engage this. There's too many spearmen. The villagers do get pulled away from the deer pack, but this is so much idle time. So much idle time. Thankfully for him, he's got wheelbarrow. But now being fully walled in the middle, that's kind of funny, but he does now find a way to break through, of course, with 2 Ghazi Raiders. Just buys a little bit of time for Kaup. Surprised to not see... Oh, he's decapping that. I was about to say I was surprised not to see him decapping that, but that's exactly what he's doing. But look at these number of villagers. Completely idled. Not what I wanted. Gonna go on gold for now. But I think B is actually really hurting for food. He wanted the food that's on the map. Being blocked on the front, being blocked on the west. There are deer pack, there's berries. I'm not sure if he got the berries on the front. No, it didn't. It's completely walled off from that situation. That's a lot of free food that the Delhi Sultanate ordinarily would be getting. That might force the Delhi Sultanate into a farming transition, which is really not what they want to do. They might need to just buy the food using the gold from the sacred sites. Oh, but it might get a good surround here. This could be a massive cleanup for 3DB. He kept the Ghazi Raiders on front. He might be looking to try and get a wrap around with the archers focusing on the longbows for now. With the spearmen about to engage against Ghazi Raiders. The Ghazi Raiders engage. Going to focus on the longbows for now. The archers for the Delhi Sultanate need to focus on the spearmen. If he can do that, another batch of Ghazi Raiders coming in from the east. And this is a problem for Kaup. He's going to lose a spearman. And if he does that, the Ghazi Raiders will pounce on the longbowmen. And this will push the English back. They've had a lot of map control for a long time. But we talked about snowballing. And that's exactly what's happening. This match is snowballing back. Kaup, on the meantime, he is going to the castle age on the back of this. Now that probably accounts for a lot of this this loss of units. Because his army numbers were really falling. Look at that. 67 military to be 24 for Kaup. And it's because Kaup was saving up for the castle age. Now, whilst he will get there, he lost a lot of feudal age units. And this is so strong for B because when you age up, you want to have a large number of units so that you can upgrade them. And they immediately become castle age units. But the thing is, Kaup just does not have that. Now, for the second time in the game, it looks like 3DB is going to have the dominance in the mid-map. The sacred sites will be captured. This gives B the opportunity to get a lot of map positioning and a lot of control of the game. But he will need to get to that castle age himself. And he's struggling for food, so it will take some time. That is the benefit of the early aggression that Kaup has had. He has set B back quite a distance, especially with the economy. So B is not going to get to the castle age really anytime soon. And now with Kaup into the castle age, he's going to have 2 town center production. He's going to get the upgrades. He's going to have a castle age army. So now things are going to be swinging back in a yo-yo because, well, whilst B will have the map superiority, at least for the next sort of 3 to 4 minutes, well, that's going to change very quickly once these veteran upgrades come in. There's the veterancy for the longbowman. There's the veterancy for the spearman. And there's balanced projectiles. Going to be looking strong for Kaup. He's going to push out his army already. So maybe 2-3 minutes was a bit generous because that army's going to head forward. That's going to be castle age army, but the army numbers for B looking really strong. 81. This should be enough to hold on from any aggression coming in. It's going to get the east side sacred site. And just by sheer numbers, it's actually looking good despite these being castle age units. Even with the upgrades coming in, you should be able to deal with these because it's not like there's a unit here which is super hard to deal with. In the feudal age, there's no castle age man-at-arms here yet. If these were castle age man-at-arms, it'd be a different story. The central sacred site being decapped, whilst the east one is being capped. It's going to just wall that with the archers to make sure it can't be blocked off once more. And the sacred site on the east is going to be captured. It's got the sacred site on the west, so good amount of gold income. That's going to supplement his castle age. Now, the concern for B is that when the Delhi Sultanate get to the castle age, their power spike is by no means immediate. The reason why is because the techs come in for free for the Delhi Sultanate, but it takes time to research. They need as many scholars inside the mosques as possible to reduce that research time. It's not just a simple click of the button. They have to wait a long period of time before those upgrades can come in, the veterancy upgrades. And that's why the Delhi Sultanate need to stay in the feudal age for a little bit longer. It's going to engage, but there are a lot of spearmen. The Ghazi Raiders, they need to get away from those spearmen. These are veteran spearmen. Those are going to chew. Oh, words. They're going to chew through those horsemen. Those Ghazi Raiders, rather. And this is a good fight overall, though, for the Delhi. He's going to get a good wraparound, despite these being veteran units. Just the sheer numbers for B. He is going to be killing this army, and a bit of a throwaway position there for Kaup. He had the military prowess, but he just didn't have the numbers. And that was a bit of a throwaway. B should be in control now of the mid-map. He's in a position where he shouldn't be. That was a rash fight there for Kaup. Just didn't have the numbers, and now Castle Age is in for 3DB. Once it does queue the upgrades eventually, please, B, queue the upgrades. B. Okay, he's doing it now, finally. So we've got the veterancy for the archers, going to take 1:40 seconds. Veterancy for the Ghazi Raiders, going to take an hour, 1:30 seconds. It's about to say an hour, it's not going to take that long. But you can see balanced projectiles, going to take 3:20 seconds. And wedge rivets, 3:20 seconds as well, there or thereabouts. So it's going to take some time for those blacksmith upgrades in particular to come in. And the good thing for B though, the really big clutch play was killing that army. That could have been a big problem. I think if that army had built up in numbers up to now, and if Kaup took the fight now with the armies that he had, with the numbers that he would have built up, I think it would have been a totally different story. But now that B is in the castle age, well, he's got a lot of positioning for those relics. He's already got 3 in his grasp. He's going to be bringing those home. And there's only 1 relic in there for Kaup. Going to push the villagers off of berries. No farming transition, so B has managed to hang on in terms of getting the food economy from the map. But you can see the beautiful farming transition here for Kaup. 3 patches around the mills, so 24 farms. Or it should be 24. There's 1 missing there because of the mining camp. Sacred site on the west side will be decapped and probably capped actually by Kaup. A lot of the relics have been dropped though by B. He wasn't able to secure them fully. And it's going to be a second one coming in for Kaup. Sacred site on the east side now being decapped. So Kaup does have a bit of a positioning in the mid-map. And it's just going to take a bit of time for those castle age upgrades to come in for the Delhi Sultanate. But once it does, I mean, it's an interesting position. He's losing a lot of army now, B. He needs to go back. He doesn't have the position. He doesn't have as many castle age units as he would like. He's got fairly equal numbers, but he is behind on economy. 79 economy to 68, courtesy of the King's Palace. Second town centre, effectively. We'll deny that relic coming in. In the middle of the map, though, this is where the big action is coming. Split into 2. We'll be denying that decap of the central sacred site. We'll give that bit of extra gold, large gold amount coming in. Archers on the front line will be looking to snipe as many of the villagers as he can, but they will be perishing because there are longbows in behind, and there's just not enough numbers here. These are veteran archers, but they are now having the network of castles bonus, the longbowmen. And that is going to push this away for sure. It's going to save the numbers, though. Actually, pretty nice there for B to save at least some of the units. And does have the sacred site in the middle. Sacred site on the right side now, being capped by Kaup, and on the west, a wallow going off, being picked up. Oh, will he get it? Will he get the Lancer? He doesn't quite manage it. But that is another Well, I guess for the English they're called monks. There's a monk that goes down. And they might be looking to push in the middle, getting outposts. Now the military number's pretty dead even, but I think B's army is just a little bit more split up. That could be an issue. I would like to see B go for maybe a keep. He did go for the House of Learning though, so no compound of the Defender. The House of Learning will get him some strong upgrades though. He's going to go for hearty rations, increasing the carrier capacity of villages by 10%, increasing the economy. And then we're getting home blades, increasing the man-at-arms and lancers. Damage by +3. Could be quite strong if he decides to... Well, he has teched into some lancers already. I wonder whether man-at-arms or... yeah, I think man-at-arms could be a good option here for the Delhi. But yeah, he has very much committed to lancers. Obviously had the stables up and running. Oh no, there's 8 villagers here. The lancers are going to get in. These villagers are going to die. There's 8 of them. That is absolutely huge. That is not what Kaup would have wanted. He's going to wall himself in with the lancers. Oh no, this is going to be a disaster. He keeps it open. Oh no, he gets it. Yeah, I mean, these villagers are all dead. There's 8 of them. There's archers in the back of that as well. And that is a massive economy loss there for Kaup. Got his economy out of position. Trying to wall up in the middle. Trying to protect with the economy. But he just lost 8 villagers. Absolutely huge. Makes the economy difference a lot less. And he's going to lose 3 more as well. That was absolutely punishing there on the west. He's going to pick up the relic as well. That was a massive sucker punch there for Kaup. And he's going to get the sacred site on the west as well. The army just a bit slower there. And that's the benefit of having those lancers, those cavalry units to jump across the map. All of a sudden, Kaup might be sandwiched there actually. If those lancers get involved, this could be a problem. Kaup is diving forward. He's going to be out of position. Defender's advantage could play a role here. He's going to head back now though. Mostly longbows. 59 of them. Only 2 spearmen. I think B jumps on this. If B jumps on this, this could be a big problem for him. Doesn't have enough anti-cavalry. And he's got the sacred site on the west side. Trying to protect the sacred site in the middle there, Kaup. Got the palisade walls. And here comes the army there for B, just trying to chase forward. And he does have the movement speed with the archers. 1.25 tiles per second. With the longbows, it's 1.12. Of course, the longbows have a larger range, but the knights might just dive this. I think not actually. There's enough longbowmen. There's just too many. But both players looking to stick it out in the castle stage for quite some time. A nice back and forth game. He was walled in there at one point though. He's actually getting a gate Kaup. Interestingly enough. Taking a couple of the units out. This could be a big fight because B does need to defend that gold position. He needs that gold. There are a couple of knights. The longbows trying to kite as much as they can. Not enough to one-shot. The spears are in good numbers now. They're trying to get forward, but the spears will be taken out by the archers there for the Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate do pick off another batch of those spearmen. They're just not enough there. Not a critical mass. The lancers are going to try and chase down, but they're going to go behind the palisade walls if they need to, those longbows. The positioning is key. There's the network of castles bonus there for the English, and he's doing a great job of whittling down those lancer numbers. Once the lancer numbers do go down, it's just going to be archers, but I think 3DB should have the numbers. He's got 39 of those archers. 36. And I don't think Kaup has enough. He's got 32. This should be a fight that B wins, potentially, although there's network of castles. I think... No, the network of castles will swing this. B needs to back off there. That's not a fight he wins. I'm not sure why he's taking it. He's going to lose it. And he's going to lose it bad. And a lot of units will be lost in the retreat as well. Oof, he's probably looking away just for a second. It does have the sacred site on the east, does have the sacred site on the west, but the central one is what Kaup is defending. And we talked about how I love this civilization matchup because of the sacred sites, and you can see everything is orientated around the central sacred site. Lancers rapping on the west side. They broke through and they are idling a lot of the economy. 16 villages are idled on the farms. And that's a problem. Food economy struggling here. Only 150 in the bank. That's going to be difficult to produce more units. Longbows are coming in to sweep up. Quite a few lancers broke in, but a lot of them died. But look at the military numbers, 67 to 41. Now with this position, I wonder whether 3DB will just focus in the middle. Will he break his way through? He broke his way out, being walled in. He has been walled in again. He broke his way out once. Will he do it again? Trying to get the deer pack in an advanced position. Holy smokes, that's pretty sporting. Oh, a couple of archers do break through. Villagers there on the wood line. They're going to get sniped. He needs to back off. Going to be one lancer trying to break down. Where is the army though for B? He's trying to take down the outpost to get rid of the network of castles bonus. With military numbers looking so much more in favour of the Delhi Sultanate, having lost so many villagers, Kaup, it really hurt him. The economy's struggling, especially with the idle time that was caused. Wasn't able to maintain production from the King's Palace and the main capital town centre at the same time, as well as produce the military, of course. Another town centre for B to protect those berries and their wood line. Actually, not a bad spot on stone as well. That'll increase his villager count, although he's almost population capped. 160 in total almost. 166. Probably just needs to pump out more units at this point. If he takes a fight here, he might win. I don't think there are enough longbowmen there. It's almost like he's going full longbowman here, Kaup. I don't think that's the right choice. Not when there are so many lancers. He needs spearmen. The trouble is, he can't get the critical mass of spearmen that he needs to take a meaningful engagement. And he can't really take into man-at-arms because the lancers do counter them. There should be a good cleanup here for B. He's going to take the engagement. Network of castles is in play though, so that will certainly help. The lancers might get a good wraparound. They get a good charge attack. A lot of the longbowmen do perish on the retreat. Many of them are going to go behind the palisades. I think B just torches this down and he breaks through. Spearmen going to get good hits, but the archers on the back line going to focus on the spearmen. If he takes the spearmen out, that's going to be a problem for Kaup. Does have a good number of them though. Decent number of them, that is for sure. 20 of them. The lancers are going to break through. They're going to torch down that gate, and that is going to be possibly the last stand here. Once he breaks through and decaps that central sacred site, he might go straight to the heart of the base. Villagers coming around the other side of the palisade walls. A lot of production here might be taken out. Lancers might just dive this. We'll have to see. B does have a good economy behind this. Should be able to continue production. Lancers back off. They're tanking a lot of the fights. The archers focusing on the spearmen. If the spearmen go down, that will be curtains. The archers picking the spearmen. They might going them down really well here, B. He's pulling in, always dancing with the lancers. Doesn't quite engage. Doesn't want to focus. Doesn't want to fight against the spearmen, that is for sure. And does take the engagement now, but the lancers are tanky and the archers on the back line are going to take out the spearmen. Spearmen numbers are dwindling. That's only going to leave a couple of crossbows, a couple of longbows, and it won't be enough. B's economy is looking strong. 74 military to 35. He's going to dive into the heart of the base, and I don't think there's any more that Kaup could do. This is the last stand for the English. Does have the network of castles bonus, but it won't be enough. And 3DB, having been walled in, he found a way out, and he found a way to win the game. I hope you guys enjoyed the casted game. Take care, and see you next time.